Chosen one, stop what you are doing right now. Not slow down, stop. If you are multitasking, put the other thing down. If there are people around you, move away from them for a moment. Because what I am about to share with you was not meant to be heard in the background. It was not meant to be consumed like a piece of content on a screen. It was meant to land, fully, in the part of you that has been waiting the longest. Take one real breath before we begin. A slow one. Let your body understand that this is not rushing. This is not noise. This is a message that was held in reserve, not for everyone. Not for just anyone who happened to scroll past, held specifically for the person who would need it most in this exact season. And if you are here, chosen one, that person is you. Chosen one. You did not find this by accident. I need you to hear that before I say anything else. Not as a phrase, not as a way of starting a video. As a truth I am asking you to receive with your full spirit right now. You did not scroll past 10 other things and land here because of chance. Something guided you here, something with intention, something that knew before you knew that you needed to hear exactly what I am about to say at exactly this point in your life. And here is what I have been sent to tell you today. The miracle you have been waiting for is not gone. It has not been reassigned. It has not been given to someone who prayed louder or believed harder or somehow earned it more than you. It is still yours. God said your miracle is waiting, and God said the window is open right now. But here is what I also need to tell you, and this is the part I need you to stay for windows close. Not because God gives up, not because he changes his mind, but because there is a timing to all things. A kairos, an appointed moment that has a beginning and an edge. And you are standing inside one right now. You are inside the window. And today, I want to walk you through exactly what that means. Before we go further, let me tell you what we are going to cover today, because I want you to stay with me all the way to the end. By the time this is finished, you will understand the 4 phases of the breakthrough process and exactly which phase you are standing in right now. You will learn the 5 signs that confirm this is your appointed window and not just another waiting season. I am going to show you the one thing that closes this window prematurely and how to make sure you do not let it. And I am going to give you a specific alignment practice, not motivation, not positive thinking, a real, grounded, spiritual positioning that will place you exactly where you need to be for what is coming. Stay with me. The most important part of this message is not the beginning, it is what comes after. Now, let me ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly, even if only to yourself. When is the last time you actually believed the miracle was still coming? Not performed belief, not said the right words in front of the right people, actually believed in the quiet, in your bones, in the middle of an ordinary moment, when no one was watching, that what God said about your life was still true. Because I know what happens in long waiting seasons, chosen one. I know what happens somewhere around month 6, or month 8, or month 14. Belief starts to become mechanical. Prayer starts to feel like discipline rather than conviction. And a quiet, terrible thought begins to form in the back of the mind that most people never say out loud. Maybe this is not really going to happen. Maybe I heard wrong. Maybe the promise was for someone else, and I somehow misread it. You have carried that thought. I know you have. Not always loudly. Sometimes just as a shadow. A whisper that arrives at 3 inches the morning when the room is dark and quiet, and everything you have been holding on to suddenly feels very far away. I want to dismantle that thought today. Not with motivation, not with energy and noise, with something more durable than both, with the truth about where you actually are. But before I show you where you are, I want to name something first. I want to name what you have been experiencing, because I think you have been feeling things you could not fully explain, and no one around you has been able to explain them to you either. The first thing I want to name is an unexplained restlessness. Not anxiety exactly, not depression, but a feeling in your body, in your chest, like something is pressing, like something is building pressure underneath you, and you cannot sit still with it the way you used to. You try to do the things that used to bring peace, and they do not bring the same peace anymore. You feel like you should be doing something, but you cannot name what. That is not anxiety, chosen one. That is pre-breakthrough compression. That is what it feels like when something large is getting ready to move. The second thing is the emotional waves that come without reason. 1 hour you feel a deep, settled peace. The next hour you feel a heaviness you cannot explain. Then something like hope, then something like grief. And you keep trying to trace it back to something that happened, something someone said, some circumstance that shifted, and there is nothing. The waves are just coming. That is not instability. That is spiritual labor. That is what it feels like to be in the final stage of preparation before a birth. The third thing is that your tolerance has changed. Things that you used to endure, certain environments, certain conversations, certain ways people speak to you or speak around you, they have become suffocating. You are not being difficult. You are not being proud. Your spirit has simply outgrown the container it was in, and it cannot go back. That is not random. That is a signal. The fourth thing is the thoughts that come at the quiet moments. Not in the middle of the day when you are busy. At 2 a.m., at 3 a.m., when the house is silent and there is nothing to distract you. The thoughts are louder than usual, more specific than usual, about your calling, about what you are supposed to do, about things you have been putting off, or things you have been afraid to name. They will not let you sleep, because they are not meant to wait much longer. That is not insomnia. That is the spirit downloading. That is intelligence being placed in you that requires your attention. And the fifth thing, the one that I think will settle something deep in you right now, is the timing coincidences. The right word arriving from an unexpected source. The right person appearing at the exact moment you needed them. The conversation that seems random but says exactly what you had been asking to hear. The message you find on a day when you had decided to stop looking, like the one you found today. Chosen one. These 5 things together are not symptoms of a struggling season. They are markers of a kairos threshold. They are signs that you are standing at the edge of what you have been waiting for. And they are not random. They are not coincidence. They are a signal. Type, I feel this in the comments, if even one of these signs describes where you are right now. Now I want to take you somewhere. I want to take you to a corridor in an ancient palace. The walls are stone. The light comes from oil lamps set into the wall at intervals, and the space between each lamp is long and dark. The corridor feels like it goes on further than it should, and at the end of it, so far you can barely see it, there is a door. A door so large and so heavy that it took 10 men to build it, and 2 men to open it. And it does not open for just anyone. Standing in this corridor, alone, is a young woman. She has no crown, she has no army. She has no guarantee that the door will open when she reaches it. She only has 1 year of preparation behind her, a full year of formation, of character work, of becoming someone she was not when she arrived. She only has a calling she did not ask for, and she only has a word that was spoken over her by someone who could see what she could not yet see. That she was placed here for exactly this moment. Her name is Esther, and this corridor, this long, uncertain, dimly lit corridor, is exactly where you have been walking. Mordecai said something to Esther that I want to say to you today. He said, "Who knows whether you came to the kingdom for such a time as this?" Not as a question of doubt, as a declaration wrapped in a question, as a way of saying, this is not an accident. You are not here by chance. You were positioned, prepared, and placed in this specific corridor at this specific hour, because there is a door at the end of it that was built for you. Chosen one. The door at the end of your corridor is real. The miracle on the other side of it has your name on it. And I need you to hear what the Spirit is saying right now. My child, I have not changed my mind about you. The promise I placed in your spirit in the beginning, I have not revoked it. I have not reassigned it. I have not grown tired of waiting for you to receive what I already set aside. The door is still standing, and I sent you this message today because the corridor is shorter than you think. There is also something else I want you to understand about this moment. Because Esther's story is not only about a woman and a king and a door, it is also about a seed. Think about what a seed does in the ground. It does not announce itself. It does not send updates. It does not produce evidence that anything is happening. From the outside, and even from the inside of the seed, it simply looks like darkness and pressure and waiting. But underneath the surface, in the part no one can see, something structural is happening. Something that cannot be rushed. Something that, if you pulled it up too early, would destroy the very thing that was being formed. You have been in the ground, chosen one. You have been in the part that no one could see. The darkness was not punishment. The silence was not absence. You were not forgotten in the ground. You were being prepared to break through it. And the breaking through is coming. Let me pause here for a moment. Before I show you the 4 phases, before I show you exactly where you are in this process, I want you to sit with something. You have been carrying what you thought was a mistake, a detour, a season that went wrong somewhere and never fully corrected itself. You have been treating your waiting as evidence of your failure, as proof that something in you was not enough, not ready, not worthy of what was promised. I want to tell you, with everything I carry right now, it was never a mistake. Not one day of it. Every closed door was a corridor. Every silence was preparation. Every person who left was creating space for someone who belongs. Everything that fell apart was revealing the things that were strong enough to hold what is coming. You did not waste those years. You were built in them. And that is the difference between Chronos time, which simply passes, and kairos time, which transforms everything it touches. Just breathe for a moment. You do not need to receive anything right now. You do not need to process anything. Just let that land. The delay was not rejection, it was architecture. Now, I want to show you something that will change how you see your entire season. There are 4 phases in the process between promise and fulfillment, and I want to walk you through all 4, because I believe that when you hear them, you are going to know with a certainty that reaches your bones exactly where you are standing right now. The ancient Greeks had 2 different words for time. They had chronos, which is clock time, calendar time, the kind of time that simply accumulates, one day after another, 1 week after another. The kind of time that does not care about you, it just passes. But they also had another word, kairos. The Greeks actually gave kairos a form. They depicted it as a young man, running, with a thick lock of hair falling over his forehead. The only way to catch him was to grab that lock of hair as he ran past you. And here is what is terrifying and beautifully about it. Once he had passed, the back of his head was completely bald. There was nothing to hold, nothing to grab. The moment had moved on. Kairos is not clock time. Kairos is appointed time. It is the moment that was written before the beginning of history, with your specific name attached to it. And unlike Chronos, Kairos does not simply accumulate. It arrives. It waits for exactly as long as it is supposed to wait, and then it moves. This matters because the 4 phases I am about to show you do not happen in Chronos time. They happen in Kairos time, which means you cannot calculate how long each phase takes by looking at a calendar. You can only discern where you are by reading the signs. The first phase is silence. This is where Chronos time stretches and Kairos time feels completely absent. No movement, no clear direction. The prayers are going up, but nothing is coming down, or nothing is coming down in a form you recognize. This is the most dangerous phase, not because it is the most painful, but because silence feels like absence. Most people lose faith here, not because they stop believing in God, but because they stop believing God is still building something on their behalf. The second phase is pressure. The silence does not end all at once, but something begins to change beneath it. A restlessness builds, an urgency that does not yet have a specific object. Signs begin arriving in small, almost dismissible ways. Things that were comfortable begin to feel suffocating. Your old environment stops fitting the person you are becoming. This is what one research team at Princeton described as the pre-threshold activation state, the brain moving out of its survival frequency before the breakthrough event occurs. In spiritual terms, this is your spirit recognizing that kairos is approaching before your mind can name it. The third phase is the fracture point. This is where you are right now. I want to sit in that for a moment. The fracture point is the most disorienting phase because it looks, from the inside, like collapse. Old structures begin to crack, relationships shift, certainties dissolve. The way you used to understand your calling no longer fully satisfies you. You know something is changing, but you cannot see the full shape of what it is changing into. And here is what I need you to hear, chosen one. The fracture point is not the breakdown. The fracture point is the moment directly before the breakthrough. It is the shell of the seed splitting open. It is the cocoon wall giving way. It looks like the end of something because it is. It is the end of everything that was temporary, which means it is the beginning of everything that is permanent. And the fourth phase needs only one word. Suddenly, not gradually, not slowly, not after a long sequence of visible steps that you can track and predict and prepare for on a spreadsheet. Suddenly, one day something that was impossible is possible. One phone call changes the trajectory of everything. One door opens that should not have been able to open. One confirmation arrives that you did not manufacture, did not network your way to, did not force or push or contrive. It simply arrives, because kairos arrived, because the appointed moment came. And now I need to tell you something about the fracture point that most people do not know, because this is the part that determines whether you walk through the door or watch it close from the outside. Type, "I'm in phase 3 inches." The comments, if this is where you are right now. Before I continue, and what comes next is the most important part of everything I want to share today, I want to mention something briefly. Everything I am sharing with you in this message is completely free. But there is also a tool, a specific, scientifically developed tool that is directly connected to what we are going to talk about in just a few minutes. The gamma brain state, the activation of what was suppressed in you, the frequency of breakthrough. I will explain it in full detail later. But if you already feel something stirring and you want to investigate before we get there, the information is in the pinned comment and in the description below. For now, stay with me, because I need to show you the obstacle first. Here is what closes the window. It is not unfaithfulness. It is not a lack of prayer. It is not that you have not done enough, or believed enough, or sacrificed enough. What closes the window prematurely, what causes chosen ones to stand at the door of their fracture point and back away instead of stepping through, is one of two things, sometimes both. The first is forcing. When the signs of the fracture point begin arriving, the restlessness, the urgency, the feeling that something is almost here, the natural response is to lunge, to rush, to grab the lock of kairos by the hair before it passes. And I understand that impulse. I understand it because it comes from love. It comes from years of holding a promise, and finally seeing evidence that it is real. And the impulse says, move quickly before this window closes. But here is what forcing actually does. It disrupts the alignment. It takes something that was arriving in kairos time and tries to drag it into chronos time. And kairos does not submit to that. Kairos does not get rushed. What you force open out of season arrives broken. What you wait for in alignment arrives whole. There is a difference between stepping through a door in faith and lunging through it in fear. One is movement guided by positioning. The other is movement driven by panic. And the enemy of your breakthrough is not the closed door. It is the panic that makes you push the open one off its hinges. You are allowed to move deliberately. You are allowed to take a breath before you step forward. You are allowed to trust that the window will hold long enough for you to walk through it with dignity and with alignment. The second thing that closes the window is the doubt pattern, not doubt about God. Most of you watching this do not doubt God. You doubt yourself. You doubt whether you heard correctly. You doubt whether the promise was real or whether you were projecting. You doubt whether you are the one or whether you have been assigned something that belongs to someone more prepared, more worthy, more put together than you. I want to name this specifically because I know the shape of this doubt. It sounds like, what if I finally step forward and it does not work? What if this is one more false alarm and I allow myself to hope and then I am back at the beginning with less energy than I had before? Chosen one, hear me. Doubt is not the opposite of faith. Certainty is not required for movement. You do not need a guarantee before you step toward the door. You only need enough faith to take one step. And one step is not a lunge. One step is a posture. One step is an alignment. One step is saying, I do not know everything that is waiting on the other side of this door, but I trust the one who built it. The healthy doubt you carry, the one that makes you careful, that makes you check your motives, that makes you want to make sure this is real before you commit, that is not weakness. That is the wisdom of someone who has been through enough seasons to know the weight of what they are carrying. And wisdom is not an obstacle to breakthrough. Wisdom is what makes the breakthrough last. And right now, the Spirit is saying something I need to give you. I need to give it to you directly, because this is the word that was held in reserve for this moment. The window is open. It will not be open forever, but it is open right now. Type, I will not force it in the comments. Let that be the moment you release the panic and choose alignment. Now, I want to give you something practical, because I do not want you to leave today with insight, but without direction. Insight without a corresponding action is just information that makes you feel good for an hour and then fades. What I want to give you is a posture, a positioning, something you can actually do not physically, but spiritually, that will place you correctly for what is coming. The first practice is what I want to call ceasing, not passive waiting, ceasing. There is a significant difference between someone who is waiting and someone who is still. Waiting is a posture that constantly faces the future, constantly checks for evidence, constantly measures the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Ceasing is a posture that says, I have done the preparation, I have done the alignment work, and now I am going to be present in this moment without manufacturing what belongs to kairos. Here is how to do this in the next 24 hours. Not by sitting still, not by stopping your life, but by identifying the one thing you have been trying to force, one conversation you keep trying to engineer, one door you keep knocking on past the point where peace supports it, one version of the miracle you have been insisting it has to look like, and releasing your grip on that specific thing. Just that one thing, not everything, one thing. Surrender the exact version of the miracle you built in your mind and make room for the version God designed before you knew you needed it. The second practice is what I want to call confirming, learning to discern genuine kairos signals from wishful thinking, because not every feeling of urgency is kairos. Not every open door is the door. There are 3 internal markers that separate a genuine kairos moment from a moment that is simply emotionally charged. The first is sudden clarity, not excitement, not anticipation, but a specific, settled sense of knowing that cuts through the noise. The second is unusual peace, the kind that does not match your circumstances, the kind that arrives right at the edge of the most uncertain moments. The third is an unexpected door, not one you knocked on, not one you worked toward through a logical sequence of steps, but one that appears from a direction you were not watching. When all 3 of those are present at once, chosen one, that is not coincidence. That is kairos telling you its name. The third practice is committing the threshold step. This is not the miracle. This is not the door itself. The threshold step is the one specific alignment action that positions you to receive what is coming. It is not dramatic. It is usually quiet. It is saying yes to the thing you have been hesitating on because it requires you to trust before you can see. It is making one phone call, writing one message, showing up to one room you have been avoiding. Not pushing, not forcing, just stepping close enough to the door that when it opens, you are already positioned to walk through it. I want you to take a moment right now and ask yourself, what is my threshold step? Not the whole journey, just the one next thing. Let it come to you quietly. You do not need to analyze it. You do not need to build a plan around it. Just let your spirit name it. Now, I want to talk to you about something that is going to connect everything we have discussed today. We have been talking about kairos time, about the fracture point, about the gamma state, that place of spiritual and cognitive readiness that allows you to receive what your ordinary mind would dismiss or miss entirely. And I want to show you the science underneath all of this, because I think it will do something important for you. I think it will take what you have been experiencing spiritually and give it a grounded, concrete foundation that makes it even more real. Dr. Robert Lake has spent 34 years studying the neuroscience of human potential. His research, conducted alongside teams at MIT, Princeton, and Harvard, mapped something that changed the way we understand the relationship between the brain and what we might call spiritual receptivity. What they found is that the human brain, at birth and through early childhood, operates at a specific frequency called the gamma state. Not a metaphor. An actual measurable brainwave frequency, the highest and most complex the human brain produces, associated with heightened intuition, pattern recognition, breakthrough insight, and what researchers began calling the flow state, the condition under which human beings perform and receive at levels that cannot be explained by ordinary cognitive function. And then something happens at around 7 years old. The researchers called it the decline effect. The gamma frequency, which was the brain's natural default state in early childhood, begins to be suppressed by the education system, by stress, by the constant low-level survival pressure of modern life, by the accumulation of experiences that train the brain to stay in a lower, defensive frequency because that frequency feels safer. Most people spend the rest of their lives operating from that suppressed state without ever knowing it happened. They pray, they believe, they do all the right things spiritually, and something in the results feels like static, like the signal is going out but not fully connecting, not because God is not listening, but because the brain that is sending the signal has been locked in a frequency that cannot fully carry the transmission. Here is what the research confirmed. This is not permanent. The gamma state can be restored. The suppression is not damage, it is a pattern, and patterns can be changed. Dr. Lake developed a method for doing exactly this. A brain entrainment protocol, 7 minutes, used through headphones designed to guide the brain back into the gamma frequency, without meditation experience, without years of training, without specialized equipment. Just 7 minutes, and the results across 18,366 people who have used it tell a consistent story. Something shifts. Not just cognitively, something in the way they pray, something in the way they receive, something in the quality of the breakthrough that follows. The product is called the Genius Song. I want to be honest with you about what it is and what it is not. It is not a miracle in a file. It is not a guarantee of any specific outcome. What it is, what the science supports, and what tens of thousands of people have now experienced is a recalibration, a return to the frequency you were born with, the frequency that was active in you before the world began suppressing it, the gamma state that kairos moments require you to be operating in, to fully recognize and receive them. Think about what we have been talking about today, the fracture point, the kairos window, the signs that you are standing at the threshold of your breakthrough. What would it mean to walk into that threshold with your brain operating at its original, full capacity frequency? What would it mean to stop praying through static and start praying from gamma? I want you to hear the real numbers on this because I think they matter. Of the more than 18,000 people who have used the Genius song, less than 4% requested a refund. In an industry where the average product refund rate sits between 15 and 25%, that number means something specific. It means that the people who used it continued using it long after the guarantee window closed. It means that what they experienced was real enough to keep. The original price of this product was $49. For the person watching this video today, for you specifically, the price is $39. Not on Amazon, not on any general platform. This price exists only through the link in the pinned comment and the description below. When you purchase, you receive 4 bonuses at no additional cost. The first is Genius Child, a 6-minute audio track calibrated specifically for children's developing brains, to give the next generation what we lost before the decline effect could take hold. Value $19. The second is the original book that the film The Secret was based on, not the film, the source. The actual foundational text on the principles of provision and financial alignment that most people have never read. Value $20. The third is a guided visualization, 22 minutes, walking through the 4 primary areas of your life: financial provision, love, health, and purpose. A full internal recalibration of how you see what is possible in each of those areas. Value $29. And the fourth bonus I will let you discover when you open the package. Every purchase is backed by a 100% money-back guarantee. No conditions, no time limit on how many times you listen before requesting it. If it does not deliver what I have described today, you receive your money back. One thing I need to protect you on. The only authorized source for the Genius song is Rise to Purpose store. If you find this product listed anywhere else, at any price, walk away. What you find there is not what I am describing today. The information is in the pinned comment below and in the description. Take it there only if your spirit is saying yes. I am not here to pressure you into anything. I am here to make sure that the person who is standing in phase 3 at the fracture point with the window open has access to every tool that exists for this moment. And now, let me bring everything we have discussed today to its close. I want to tell you about someone before we close. I am not going to use their name, but I want you to know that this person is real, and I want you to know that what happened to them is not a story I am using to make a point. It is evidence. 14 months, that is how long they waited. 14 months of praying the same prayer, in different words, with different levels of desperation, at different hours of the night. 14 months of watching the people around them receive things that felt like what had been promised to them. 14 months of doing the right things, the spiritual work, the inner work, the patient, faithful, show up anyway work, and seeing nothing that looked like a result. Around month 11, they made a decision. Not a dramatic one, a quiet one. They stopped explaining themselves to people who did not understand their season. They stopped trying to force open the doors that were not responding to their pushing. They deleted the social media that was feeding the comparison and the noise. They committed to 40 days of what they called deliberate stillness, not passive waiting, but the intentional practice of ceasing to manufacture and beginning to align, of releasing the exact version of the miracle they had built in their mind and making room for the version that was actually coming. Day 26 of those 40 days, something happened. Not dramatic. A phone call from a direction they had not been watching. A conversation that should not have been possible given the circumstances of the previous 14 months. And then, within 30 days after that, 3 more things arrived. Each one from a direction they had not anticipated. Each one carrying the shape of the promise. Not the exact shape they had drawn in their head, but the true shape, the permanent shape. He did not manufacture his moment. He aligned himself for it. And when kairos came, he recognized it because he had been practicing, because he had been learning the difference between the urgency of panic and the urgency of positioning, because the fracture point did not break him. It broke open the shell that was keeping him from becoming what he was always supposed to be. I believe you are closer to your day 26 than you think. I believe the 14 months, or however long your corridor has been, is almost over. And I believe that what we are going to do together in the next few minutes is going to seal that. Chosen one, I want to speak to who you actually are right now, not who you have been performing, not the version of you that shows up and functions and manages and gets through the day. The version of you that is underneath all of that, the one that has been carrying something real for a very long time. You are a seer. I want you to hear what that means. Not as a title, as a description of something that is structurally true about you. You have seen things before they arrived. You have felt shifts in rooms before anyone else could name them. You have known things about people, about seasons, about what was really happening underneath the surface of what everyone else accepted at face value, that you could not explain and could not prove, and eventually stopped trying to explain or prove because the weight of being misunderstood, for it was too heavy. You have seen what others could not see, and you spent years wondering if that made you strange. It does not make you strange, it makes you equipped. The sensitivity you have been managing as a liability is the very thing that will allow you to recognize your kairos moment when it arrives. The gift was never the problem. The gift was always the preparation. You are a spiritual warrior. I want to be specific about what that means in your case. It does not mean you have been loud. It does not mean you have been aggressive or publicly strong. Some of the most powerful warriors hold the line in complete silence. And that is what you have been doing. You have been in phase 3, the hardest ground, the fracture point, the place where everything is cracking and nothing has yet broken through, and you are still here. You did not collapse. You did not give up the thing that was promised to you. You showed up in the dark when there was no audience and no confirmation and nothing to point to as evidence that any of this was worth it. That is not passivity. That is warfare of the highest order. And the one who sees warfare knows exactly what you have been doing and exactly what it has cost. You are a pioneer. This is the one I want to sit with for a moment, because I think this is the one you most need to hear. You are going first. Not metaphorically, actually first. There is no one in your family line, no one in your specific history who has walked this particular path before you. You are the one who is breaking the pattern, the cycle, the generational agreement with limitation that said, this is as far as we go. You are the one who said in your spirit, even when your circumstances said otherwise, not me, not on my watch. This is not where my line ends. And here is what I need you to understand about being a pioneer. The door you walk through does not close behind you. It stays open. Every person who comes after you, every child, every person in your circle who watches you receive what was promised. They walk through easier because you went first. The miracle you are about to receive is not only for you, it is the opening of something that was locked for everyone who comes after. You are allowed to receive this. You are allowed to step through the door. You are allowed to let the miracle arrive without spending the first week of it wondering whether you actually deserved it. You are allowed to stop carrying the weight of everyone who did not make it as far as you. You are allowed to walk forward. You are allowed to let the window be open for you specifically, on purpose, by design. Now I want to take you somewhere one more time. I want you to picture the corridor again, the same corridor I showed you at the beginning. The stone walls, the candlelight, the space between each lamp that is long and dark and feels like it goes further than it should. You have been in this corridor for a long time. You know what the stone walls feel like. You know what the long darkness between the lights feels like. You know how to walk this corridor because you have been walking it with more grace than you realize. But now, I want you to look ahead. The door at the end of the corridor is open, not cracked, not slightly ajar, open, wide and steady and waiting. And the light coming through it is not dramatic, it is not blinding, it is warm. It is the kind of light that does not ask you to be anything other than exactly what you are. It is not testing you. It does not require you to prove anything before you walk through. It is simply there, simply open, simply yours. Now I want you to picture yourself walking toward it, not running, not lunging, walking, with the quiet, grounded, deliberate stride of someone who has been prepared for exactly this moment. Someone who knows the difference between Chronos and Kairos. Someone who recognizes their signs. Someone who has released the forced version of the miracle and made room for the real one. With each step, I want you to feel something releasing from your shoulders. The weight of the timeline you carried that did not belong to you. The weight of the explanations you were never owed but kept composing anyway. The weight of the doubt that sat in your chest in the 3 moments. Feel it become lighter with each step you take toward that door. You are 10 steps away, 5 steps, 1 step. You are at the threshold, and everything that is waiting on the other side of this door, the provision, the relationships, the purpose, the breakthrough you have been holding on for it, does not look exactly like you imagined. It is larger, it is more permanent. It is the version that was designed before you knew you needed it. It has your name on it, and it has been waiting, specifically, for you to arrive at this moment. You do not have to step through it right now, in this visualization. You just have to know that the door is real, and you are standing at it, and you are ready. Let that settle into you. Before we close, I want to give you 5 things to carry with you when you leave today. Because I want you to walk away from this message, not just moved, but clear. The first thing is this: your delay was never punishment. It was architecture. The season you have been in was building something in you that is directly required for the weight of what is coming. The wilderness was not a detour, it was the road. The second thing, you are in phase 3, the fracture point, which means you are in the phase that directly precedes suddenly. Most chosen ones retreat at phase 3 because it looks like collapse. You now know what it actually is? The third thing, the 5 signs you are experiencing: the restlessness, the emotional waves, the change tolerance, the midnight thoughts, the timing coincidences. These are not symptoms of a struggling faith. They are markers of a kairos threshold. Read them correctly. The fourth thing, there are 2 things that close the window prematurely: forcing and doubting your worthiness. You now know to release the exact version of the miracle you built in your mind, and to take one aligned step rather than a panicked lunge. The fifth thing, you have a threshold step. You know what it is. Your spirit named it while we were here today. You do not need to force it. You just need to take it when the door appears. And the door is already open. You did not come here by accident. Every word of this message was held for you. And now, the most important part. I want to lead you through something right now. Not a performance, a real release, a real positioning. Something that will seal what we have done together in this message and send you forward with your spirit fully aligned. The first thing I want you to do right now is release something specific. Not everything, one thing. The one version of the miracle that you have been carrying in your hands, that you built in your mind, the exact timeline, the exact form, the exact door it was supposed to come through. In your spirit, right now, I want you to open your hands and let go of that version. Not the miracle, not the promise, just the version you designed. Because the version God designed is better than the one you imagined. And as long as you are holding the imagined version, you are not fully free to receive the real one. Let it go. Right now. Internally. Consciously. Deliberately. Let the timeline you were given go back to the one who holds time. Let the exact form of the breakthrough go back to the one who designed the form. Keep the faith. Release the blueprint. Type I release in the comments right now if you just did that. Now, I want to speak something over you, and I want you to receive it not as words, but as a declaration that is being sealed in the spiritual atmosphere over your life right now. You are not behind. You are precisely positioned. Every day of the delay was a day of divine architecture, and not one of it was wasted. You are not overlooked. You are protected. The season that felt like invisibility was actually concealment, the kind that preserves what is sacred until the appointed moment of its revealing. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. The weight you have been carrying was always the weight of something real. The promise was real then. It is real right now, and it will be real on the day it arrives. And now, I want to give you what God is saying. I hear the Father saying this for the person who found this message today. My child, I have not moved. I have not changed my mind about you. I have not reassigned the miracle to someone who deserved it more, because this was never about deserving. This was always about appointed time. Your time is here. Not tomorrow, not next year, not after one more season of preparation. Now. I built the door before I made the corridor. I set your name on what is waiting on the other side of it, before you knew you were waiting. And I am telling you today, the window is open. It will not always be open, but it is open right now. And I did not bring you through everything you survived just to close the door before you walked through it. Come, take the step. The miracle knows your name. I want to pray over you now. Father, I bring before you the chosen one who found this message today. I ask you to confirm in their spirit right now that this was not a coincidence, that this was a kairos appointment, that every sign they have been experiencing is real, and that they are standing at the exact threshold you designed for them. I ask you to release them from the timeline they built in their own hands. Let them hold the promise without holding the blueprint. Let them trust the form you designed over the form they imagined. I declare over them that phase 3 is ending, that the fracture point is becoming the breakthrough point, that suddenly is not far, that the window is open, and they are positioned to walk through it with alignment, with wisdom, and with the full gamma capacity you gave them before the world began suppressing it. Seal this word in them. Let it live in the place where doubt used to live. Let it replace the mechanical prayer with a living conviction. Let them leave this message different than they arrived. And let what is waiting on the other side of the door receive them the moment they step through. Go in peace. Go in preparation. Go in power. You are the chosen one. The window is open, and the miracle is waiting. Type chosen one in the comments if you receive this today. Let that be your declaration. Let that be your seal. And before you go, if this message landed in a place that needed it, click like right now as a spiritual seal. Not for me, for the confirmation that your spirit just received. Let the like be the moment you said yes to what was already prepared for you. If you want to stay positioned for what is coming, subscribe so you do not miss what I bring next. More messages like this are coming. More kairos content, more alignment teaching, more of what you found here today. And I want you to think of one person right now. One person who has been in their corridor longer than anyone around them knows, who has been in phase 3 and does not yet have the language to understand that what they are experiencing is not collapse, it is preparation. Send this to them, not as content, as a confirmation. Be the Mordecai in their story. Be the one who says, "Who knows whether you came to this moment for such a time as this?" The link for the Genius song is in the pinned comment below for those who are ready to investigate. $39, 4 free bonuses, 100% guarantee. Only through Rise to Purpose store. Take it there, only if your spirit says yes. I will see you in the next message, chosen one. The door is open, walk through it.